the question really is, like not what do you have? The question is like, why and what is it in my lifestyle and environment and diet that's caused the problem in the first place? So if you, look at the environmental factors, which the questions in this book help people, focus on and make people aware, then they're much more aware of what's been going on in their health in the last couple of years. So it makes them very, it gives them focus, intention, purpose to, take care of their health issues.
Welcome to the Regenerative Warrior podcast and show. Today, my guest is Dr. Patricia Boulogne. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you as well. So you are the author of a book called Why Are You Sick, Fat, and Tired? Now that can be that might take people the wrong way. So let's talk about what inspired you to write this book and what this book is really all about and how it helps patients, but also how doctors can utilize some of the information in this book to actually help with their own practice, correct?
Right. Well, what the book does is that it is basically a book of questions, and it's a very intricate set of questions about the organ systems and surveys in the body, so that you can, by answering that and those questions by the patient, it gives the doctors a whole slew of information.
Okay. So in general, a practice, they probably don't ask all the questions they need to know to really find out what's going on with the patient. Pretty much, is that where we are?
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of people tell me when they have taken the survey and they're going, God, my doctor's never asked me questions like that. It's so in depth, and it made me really ponder because, when I asked my doctor, like, so what can you do about chronic fatigue? And they're going, and they give them some answer about, age, being overweight or something like that, but they never look back at the root cause of why somebody has chronic fatigue in the first place. So this will really give somebody a really bird's eye view of a pattern of somebody's health on their health chart and how the organ systems relate to each other.
That's awesome. And so if a provider wants to start implementing, you have a survey or a questionnaire that's part of the book that you could actually use with your patients, as well as other doctors can use with their patients, that really gets a more comprehensive analysis of what's the patient is experiencing. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's very accurate. As a matter of fact, by having your patient take the time and do this, it doesn't take a long time. Mm-hmm. It kind of cuts to the chase. So when you're looking at a system survey, you might be able to hey, this is what you've got going on right now because it's in present time. And you can then you know where to focus and where your next best steps are. So that knowledge is power comes into play, and being knowledge is not only powerful, it also stacks that information so you know how to start your next health journey or where to start your health journey and what those next steps are and what organ system to really funnel and focus on and what aspect of that organ system.
So how many organ systems does this survey break it down into really?
11 for each sex. So there's 11 for men, 11 for women. And there's subsections in the book, so that they're in the gut, there's 4 subsections. So you're looking at the function of the gut and how that is parlaying with other organ systems. So there's that in your detoxification for your liver, gallbladder, the dysglycemic and glucose tolerance stuff, each section and organ system of the body.
Very interesting. So when, let's see. So when a doctor is doing this survey, how are they going to, what if they don't deal with the the main conditions, or they're not, let's say, an expert in this area, they go, well, this is beyond my area of expertise. What can a doctor do then? What is the best idea?
Well, they can work with me.
Okay.
I can talk to, their client. I can guide them so that they can get the information, so that they can relay it or parlay where to get that person so they get the best help possible. And I've done that with more than I've done it with numerous offices and with doctors. So I help them so they can start seeing what the health pattern looks like, and then they know where to go look at, like, should I do this or this first? And then there's supplementation and target supplementation that would be somewhat appropriate, so that it's an easy guide. It's kind of like when you go to a foreign country that you have no clue about. You would go hire a guide. You would go hire and get the right information so you would know how to make your best choices. It's the same thing for the doctor. It's the same thing for the patient.
That makes sense. So you'll help. So if somebody implements this survey and they start getting a bunch of areas, they're like, well, that's not a strong area that I deal with. And if they need help, so they can reach out to you to actually kind of guide them through maybe what they need to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very approachable, and I make time specifically for that aspect of this book with doctors, because it's confusing to the patient, because they now have better information because they can use that tool to advocate. But sometimes when you're seeing a lot of very high scores that are in a high priority, the question is, where do I start? And so, and there's organ systems that are more, they relate to each other, like the liver and the heart, and so if you're looking at the cardiovascular section, or areas where inflammation can manifest, then you want to say, okay, I don't want to target supplement everything. I need to figure out what is the best venue for me to go to first. And by doing that, you can make changes. So even if you don't pick the right, a combination of things, you can still make changes. And you'll see changes in the chart as people go along. But I usually find that people have a 2-week to a 3-month, depending upon their health condition, to even a year, that you're working on specifics. But you could start taking the onion, like the layers of the onion off, right, so that you can get someplace and get to the root.
And get to the root cause of the problem. And that's really the goal of this type of survey, is really, or questionnaire, is really to trying to find the root cause of the problem, and help solve that problem. Correct?
Yes, and also, it's, the question really is, like, not what do you have. The question is, like, why and what is it in my lifestyle and environment and diet that's caused the problem in the first place. So if you look at the environmental factors, which the questions in this book help people focus on and make people aware, then they're much more aware of what's been going on in their health in the last couple of years. So it makes them very, it gives them focus, intention, purpose to take care of their health issues.
I had a situation myself where I was having some challenges going to sleep, and I just couldn't fall asleep very well. And I was talking to a doctor about it, and what I noticed, and I was getting some nutritional products as well as working with a nutritionist, and they asked me, well, what are you taking, like, during the day, nutrition wise, as well as night? Now I like to take a lot of different supplements for all kind of things. Mm-hmm. And I found out from the nutritionist, not the doctor, that a lot of the products I was taking were reacting against each other and stimulating my nervous system, mm-hmm, especially the ones that I was taking late at night that I was using to try to sleep, when it was actually stimulating me and not allowing me to go to bed. So it's like drinking a cup of coffee before you go to sleep and wondering why you can't go to sleep. So the doctor didn't ever address that. It wasn't a thought in his mind. it was, but the nutritionist looked at that and said, "Hey, have you thought about that?" And it was not even something I thought was causing the problem, but it was. And so, when you have a problem, you definitely need a questionnaire that actually, asks more detailed questions to find out really what's going on, and not just think it's the same old thing with everybody.
Right. Well, always, when people ask me, should they buy the online version or should they buy the hard copy? And I always tell them to buy the hard copy, because if you have the online version, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Sure.
And so on New Year's Day, when we're all sitting there trying to figure out what's my best health, resolutions for this year, whether you write them down or not, this book, Why Are You Sick, Fat, and Tired, will really help you focus, where do I got a problem right now? And why not take care of it and take the edge of it off so it becomes a low priority? And then if you're not feeling so hot later on, or if you have a couple months where you're just kind of like, oh, I've been so tired lately, open the book up and take the questionnaire again.
Right.
And you can see what organ system, might be stressing out. And if you have a lot of variation, like in low priority, it's just like it eventually is going to affect the immune system.
Sure.
And so so if you can take a look at so where am I at? So if you have a low priority, do targeted supplementation. If you've got a bigger problem, then you need to go potentially more into medical foods, changing of diet, and looking at the diet, exercise, the targeted supplementation. And if those things don't handle it, it gives you the first opportunity, in a nutshell, to test and not guess.
Beautifully said. And all right, so if you're a doctor and you want to really start getting to more of the heart of the problem with your patients, and you need a good tool to help you with this is a great way to do it. And the book, again, is called Why Are You Sick, Fat, and Tired? And there's a survey in there that you could utilize with your patients. And if you are in areas that you need help, the doc here can assist you. What's the best way to get in touch with you, and if a doctor has questions or needs some help?
Well, they can email me at askdrpat@healthteamnetwork.com, and healthteamnetwork.com is my website.
Okay.
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook page. The place to always connect with me is LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's
for professional stuff.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Anything else you want to say in closing?
I just wanted to, say thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to help a lot of people, and one of my venues for helping a lot of people is to connect with doctors who can help deliver a good message. And I'm there to help, support, and have your back, so to speak.
Well, thank you, Doc. I appreciate your time today, and we look forward to helping a lot of doctors learn about their patients better.
Yeah, it's a bird's eye insight. It's just like it's taking microscope, and tuning in.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time again.
Thanks so much also.